Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read-through for Tower of God Chapter 628 or Season 3 Episode 211. Crazy numbers, we're up there. So yeah, last two chapters, after watching a bunch of other people's reactions, because I always talk about watching a bunch of other people's reactions, I feel like some people didn't like them as much as I did. I thought they were great. I thought especially the chapter before last, 209, I think 209 was incredible. It was so good. Last week's chapter, to be completely fair, I do think it wasn't nearly as good as 209, but it was still really good, I think. It seems like most people generally enjoyed them. But yeah, I thought the past two were good, so I'm excited to see what this week has to hold. It's nutty that we're already at 628, because it just feels like we're creeping up closer on 650, and I'm gonna need, like, before we get to 650, I'm gonna need to figure out how I'm going to do another character poll for everyone. I'm gonna need to figure out how I'm gonna organize that. At least I know I have all of you watching who are like really helpful and awesome. I have all the other Tower of God YouTubers and streamers and stuff who I'm sure will help share it around and help get eyes on it, help get people to put in votes. So that part's not hard. The hard part is just it took me so long last time. It was so time consuming, and I'm just like, oh gosh, how am I gonna do this? Because I want it to be better than last time on my end. Like, you know, getting how many people voted? Was it over 6,000 people voting? I think it was over 6,000 people voted and we got over 17,000 votes. That is incredible. I would love to do even better. I think if we got even more votes, that'd be even cooler. But even getting that many is an insane amount. Like, that's crazy. For like a limited running poll, for, you know, a limited sized community, that's crazy good. So I think that beating that would be awesome. But on my part, last time the voting site was kind of like, okay, you had to vote for one and then submit it, then vote for a second and submit it, then vote for a third and submit it. And that's like not the best way to do things. That's really just about it. Everything else I was perfectly kind of fine with last time. It maybe didn't look the absolute nicest, but it was also nicer than just a list of names or anything. You had pictures and stuff and like a background, and I used the whole like black and white and purple aesthetic for that before I started using it for my channel videos and everything. So, you know, I'd like to make that end of things better. Make it so that, figure out a way to do it so you can select 3 at a time and then submit. Or I don't know if I should do it through the same service as last time, where I had to pay for a server for a month just because, like, I couldn't find anything free that lets you store like tens of thousands of votes. And to like, you could store tens of thousands of votes, but you're only allowed to have like 3 or 4 options. Something that lets you have like hundreds of options and also have that many votes. I had to like just essentially make a web page. So I don't know if I should do that again, or if like some of you have better options. Can you do something like that through like what is it, Google something or another? I'm losing my words. Google Drive. Can you do it through that? Is there a better way to do things that I just don't know about? Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do another character poll, but it feels like that's quickly approaching on me. And one last thing I wanted to bring up here, I just wanted to say, it probably doesn't apply to any of you watching, but I wanted to say it real quick just because I want to be on record, putting it out there before I get started reading, is, you know, I've mentioned, I love going and watching everybody else's reactions. So usually if they're live, of course, you know, Dr. Bonehead, he does his reaction when the chapter is coming out, and I need to do my reaction when the chapter is coming out, so I can't be there in chat for his typically. But for most people, I'll be in the chat, and it's totally cool to say hi. That's really great. I really love how much love people show just saying hi, or if it's like pertaining to the question, or like the line of questioning or the line of discussion going on, if it's not distracting away from whoever's streaming, that's totally fine. That's totally cool. And I really probably don't have to say this to any of you watching this, because the only times I've really had quote-unquote problems with this is people that I don't even recognize from my own comment section. But if you see me in somebody's chat, like, just be respectful. Don't like try to have a full conversation with me again, unless that's the vibe, unless that's the way things are going in that chat. If that's totally cool, if we're all having a discussion, like whoever's streaming and everybody in chat, but don't like try to take attention away from the person who's actually streaming. Don't try to distract from what they're doing. I just, again, I don't recognize anybody who's ever done that before from my comments or anything. They're not like regulars or anything like that, so to speak. But I just wanted to put that out there because, again, like I said, having a conversation when it's like on topic, when it's along with whoever's streaming, that's fine. Saying hi, totally good. Like really, really sweet and nice and all even. But just don't be disrespectful to the person who is actually taking their time to stream for all of you. But I've even thought before, I was like, geez, do I, should I just make a burner account to go and be in other people's chat? But yeah, again, it's not a huge problem. It's just something that I wanted to get off my chest and say because I didn't know where else to say it. But yeah, either way, with that aside, let's start actually reacting. So we have a violence warning this time, which may or may not mean anything. And we're starting off with what we saw at the end of last week's chapter with Gastang and Traumerei. It's time to wake up and face reality, my friend. Playtime is over. By the end of the day, one of us is going to die. And he slaps him away. Sends him flying back. And then we have the battle between the family leaders, Traumerei versus Gastang 2. Gastang looking a little weird this panel. The art's been kind of off a lot lately. But yeah, he's looking really, his head looks very small compared to his shoulders here. Slapping a mask just doesn't feel as satisfying as hitting someone in the face. I wonder, okay, so the strongest RGB gamer mask in the West, he has a freaking Razer branded mask, essentially. But I was kind of hoping that maybe the slap from Gastang would be enough to knock the mask off and we could finally get Traumerei without the mask. But it seems, like I said, it's, you know, much like Head-On in Chapter 1, or Chapter 2 maybe even, it's very well made. You arrogant, conceited fool. I swear, you're going to regret that. And now we're seeing, Enraged Rapid brought back out. We haven't seen Rapid in forever. You just made a big mistake. Huh. Someone's finally beginning to get upset, I see. We have pink energy this time? Is that from Gastang or the Rapid itself? I can't tell. I think it's probably Gastang. He's bringing out all these blades. Alright. And then he starts slashing through and cutting apart the Rapid. Megalodon. And he summons another creature, and it seems like not only the main one, but just a stream of sharks. Tear him to shreds. And we're seeing just a massive scale here. And Andrasi and Belarankidu really need to just leave. I think it's a bit much having them stick around during this, and like I was mentioning before, I just really don't think there's a super logical reason for Andrasi and Dorothy for her to care about the game that much in this specific moment. Those damn monsters keep appearing. Like, the game is, again, a big part in determining who gets custody, so to speak, of Bomb, but it isn't worth her dying over, and the point of the game is to serve as a proxy war instead of the battle between these two. but we are getting the actual battle between these two. So with that in mind, you would almost even think she might think, oh, well, the game doesn't matter anymore. But we see all of his blades again. They're cutting through the sharks. Doesn't matter how many of your little creatures you try to throw at me. If you want to fight me, you'll have to do it yourself. Things are different now. And because I now control creatures that you know nothing about. And it's like the ancient Shinhyo started eating and fusing with the sharks. Your flames are practically invincible against things whose nature you understand. But this pack of sharks united with my ancient fish contains creatures you've never even heard of. They won't easily succumb to your flames. So that's something that I really am excited to see in the future. We've seen Gaston doing things, like we've seen flames and little like his blades that look kind of like the pen like nibs, I think they're called. We've seen that, but we don't really have an explanation about any of it, like how it works, what are the mechanics behind it. So I really do want to learn more about Gaston's abilities, because that's supposed to be some kind of joke and he summons a pen. In any case, I'm tired of fighting all these little creatures individually. The head librarian's power all comes from Gaston originally. Okay, the head librarian... I think they meant the librarians plural. The head librarians' power all comes from Gaston originally. Even Tiara's ability to create things originally belonged to Gaston. I summon a gigantic sea monster with emerald eyes that splits the sea in its wake like a terrifying blade, and his power is much greater than hers. I don't know if I really like the use of this narrator. Much like with the Bomb and Dumas fight, it kind of takes away from it when we're just using it more, especially for things that we don't need to be told. We can just be shown, and we can infer it through the art and what's happening on screen. Like literally, if you showed Gaston summoning the pen, you could assume, and they've said before, that the abilities or the head librarians come from Gaston. So we could assume, okay, he's pulling out this pen, he's writing this down, and he summoned something, just like what Tiara was doing. So we could assume that he can do what Tiara does because her power came from him. She's a Poppadao. And we can also assume that because he's the family head, his abilities are probably more powerful than hers. We can infer that just from seeing him summon the pen, write this down, getting these things right here where it's like the I summon, just like we got with Tiara. We don't really need the narrator to explain it to us because it's very clear right there in the art itself. Now we have Big Fish behind him. Show yourself. Alright. And it charges in toward the transformed Megalodon. The two of them seemingly clash past one another. And then lots of things happening on screen still. Gaston closes the distance. Lots of things happening on screen some more. He's in the distance. Well, what do you think if you ask me? It looks like the creatures I can summon with riding are vastly superior to yours. Would you like to borrow some of my power? Even if you offered it to me for free. And now we're seeing Shinsu Blast from Traumerei. I wouldn't take it. Sure, he writes down some more. I know just the thing for an uptight homebody like you. For 10 seconds, turn Traumerei's mask into a cat. And then we have Silly cat mask. That's a really good panel, too. Okay, but we're still not being shown his face. And then Gaston laughs. That looks better on you, Traumerei. You son of a... Traumerei Shinsu control skill. And I wonder if 10 seconds just passed really quickly, or if Traumerei could just dispel the effect with his own abilities. Rupture. And we see the spiral. Rupture. One of Traumerei Shinsu control skills is known as Rupture. What the skill does is that it cuts off everything affected by the Shinsu. By doing so, it creates a rupture. Alright? Again, did we really even need to have that explained? I think it would be even better if he just said rupture and then created the spiral and then it tore apart the fish. Because that's what we see happen anyway. So without the explanation, I think it would have been even better. The rupture is completely separated from the outside world. Unless it's going to come back into play as, oh, Traumerei can create spaces that are separate from the outside world. But again, what does that mean in this? Like, we just saw spiral. So what does that mean in this case? And it's like, if we're talking about creating spaces separated from the outside world, we see that already with like the armor, the heart in the armor, or Gaston's labyrinth. So we've already seen things like that. We're seeing more gore falling between the two of them. If one of us is going to die here, it'll be you, Gaston. And that's where we end. Very short, but it's a fight chapter. That happens with fight chapters. Nothing to really complain about. But let me remove this so that you can see the credits. But it was okay. It was alright. I don't know. I'm not super impressed by what we saw. It was solid. The art was hit and miss. I think the art was kind of on the lower end of things. It didn't look the best all the time. But it didn't look bad either. It was fine. The fight so far, fine. There are some things that I don't really like. I don't think it's the best CU's done. But it's not bad either. It was just alright. It's alright. I feel like we'll probably continue to get more of this. It does just, like I said, it feels kind of weird. It feels like we're probably not going to get to see too much of their fight just because there are so many other smaller things going on, and it would feel a bit pointless for us to see this fight and then cut back to those things. So we're probably going to cut back to those things before we really, really get into the deep good stuff of this fight. But yeah, for now, I guess I can keep a video short. That would be crazy. It's already past midnight. I'm already tired. It's already late. So I will just end it here. I really did enjoy getting to spend this time reacting to the chapter and making a video for you all though. So I'm going to go edit this, try to get it up, and like I said, I will be watching everybody else's reactions. I'll be hanging out. I'll be talking with all of you in the comments. I will be doing much more Tower of God stuff. I also still need to react to and do the anime. It's late, so I'm not going to do it tonight. I'll do it sometime this week as soon as I can. But yeah, anime will be at some point. Either way though, thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of this chapter, my first thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Tower of God and much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it is free and open for anyone. Just ask and I can give you a link. And if you want to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks, that is appreciated. Or if you want to help support the channel and also get your name at the end of every video, also get One Piece videos a bit early, then you can hit join down below to become a member, or go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and channel members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono, Abyss Knight, JA, and the D-Ban, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pater Diallo. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you all next time.